Okay, I am excited about today's video because I have the best new drugstore launches to share with you. Honestly, it's been a little bit quiet when it comes to the drugstore. I feel like the drugstore brands end up releasing a lot of products and a lot of new collections at the end of the year and the very beginning of the year. So I feel like a lot of drugstore brands are kind of gearing up for their new collections in a few months, but there have been a couple of releases. I've been testing a lot of these off camera because they've kind of been rolling out slowly, so I haven't done like a full face of new drugstore makeup, but I'm going to share the best of the best with you in today's video, apply these products on camera, do some swatches, some close-up shots so you can hear about them. And if you're looking for affordable makeup that's honestly really good, I have some products to share with you. Okay, I want to start with this product because it really surprised me. When I saw the photos online, I was like, of course, that's a cute launch. ColourPop always does cute launches, very cute packaging, pretty colors, but I didn't necessarily have super high hopes for it. And I think it's because I thought it was an older product that was repackaged. ColourPop ended up launching like a creamy, dewy blush either earlier this year or last year, and that was a really pretty formula, but it was very, very thin, so it ended up looking really sheer, very natural on the skin. Kind of similar to the Makeup by Mario, like dewy, balmy blushes, but maybe even more subtle than that. Anyway, they just came out with this product. It is their lip and cheek balm, and this has a lot more pigment. Now, you can definitely sheer this out as well, especially if you really blend it into the skin or kind of tap off the excess on the back of your hand if you're using a brush. This is my favorite brush to apply these with. It's the Real Techniques tapered cheek brush. So I have this shade on today, a very, very small amount of it just because I wasn't really feeling like a super bold blush look, but I'll do an application clip with this pink one so you can see just how much you can build these up. This is an absolutely gorgeous color too. This one is verified. I would say this is a little bit of a thicker texture. I think the word balm kind of threw me off because sometimes balmy cheek products end up being very, very thin and they end up fading or wearing off super quickly. This reminds me more of like the Tower 28 cream blushes, not quite as thick as those. Honestly, I find these a little bit easier to work with. You can layer them up and get like a gorgeous, dewy, glowy look, or you can go in with a very small amount, even on top of powder. And I do feel like they wear well on top of powder as well. They don't cake up or look heavy. So I'm really impressed by these. I've been wearing these a ton, especially this shade right here. When I was getting ready for this video and thinking through all of the products, I wanted to include a con for each product just because I really try to be unbiased when it comes to makeup reviews, and nothing is absolutely perfect. But to be honest with you, this is the one product where I didn't have like a big con that stood out to me. They are $12, so a little bit more expensive compared to other ColourPop cheek products, which might be a con. But honestly, the formula feels elevated, and ColourPop does run a lot of sales. They typically do like a big Black Friday site-wide sale. So if you want to wait for that, you can probably get these for a discounted price then. But I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I actually have another blush. This one is from Catrice. It retails for $7, and it's actually a blush duo. So it comes with a powder blush and a cream blush all in the same packaging, and they have 4 different options available. So you can get these products directly from the Catrice website. I order from there fairly often. The shipping is pretty quick. I've never had an issue with anything arriving broken, but I actually ordered mine directly from Amazon because the new collection is on Amazon as well. So I'll link these products below if you want to check them out. So I only got one. I got Peach Passion. I saw a video that Vianney Strick did over on Instagram where she was saying that she heard they were a dupe for the Patrick Ta cream and blush duos. And if you don't watch Vianney's YouTube channel or her Instagram videos or TikTok, I highly recommend her. She does a ton of videos on new drugstore launches. She's one of my favorites, so I'll link her below. Anyway, she applied the Catrice on one side, the Patrick Ta on one side, said they wore very, very similarly. They looked very similar too, but the Catrice formula actually looked a little bit more pigmented. I love Catrice products, and a lot of their cheek products have been some of my favorites over the years, and this one is no exception. The fact that this is $7 is such a steal to me because this really does feel like it could be a lot more expensive. I don't know that I would say this is the exact same formula as Patrick Ta. There are some differences between them. In the end, I feel like the Catrice formula is more pigmented and the cream blush is a little bit thicker, not quite as dewy or glowy as Patrick Ta, but definitely a really, really good formula. I've worn this both ways, like the Patrick Ta method of powder underneath and cream on top, and then more of the typical way with cream underneath and powder on top, and then I've worn these products alone. It looks great every single time, and again, a very, very long wearing formula. So I highly recommend this if you're looking for an inexpensive blush duo to try out. The only con that I thought of with this one is the fact that the blush the cream blush and the powder blush are not separated. Like Patrick Ta has that little plastic piece that goes over the cream. So when you dip into the powder, none of the fallout mixes with the cream, which I think is really important. But I will say, because this formula is different, I don't know if that would matter as much. This is a thicker cream. So I almost feel like a little bit of powder in there wouldn't really make a difference because it feels like a cream to powder, maybe somewhat similar to the ColourPop Super Shock blushes after they've dried out a little bit. So it's definitely not overly creamy, which I think is what makes it last so well on the skin. You don't get that super glowy, balmy, dewy effect. You just get more of like a satin, almost matte leaning cream blush, kind of like the LYS Beauty Cream blushes. It's a really nice formula. Honestly, it does feel high end to me at a really affordable price point. Catrice did launch quite a few other products as part of their new collection, but the only other one that I picked up for now is the Aqua Splash Grip Primer, because I do love trying out new gripping primers. I feel like every brand has their gripping primer these days, and I asked you guys over on Instagram if you're a fan of gripping primers or not. I feel like the results were kind of mixed, but it did lean in the direction of most people saying they don't like gripping primers, which I thought was really interesting because we have seen so many launches that are some sort of like tacky or sticky or gripping primer. Anyway, if you are a fan of gripping primers, this one is $8. So when I first tried this, I was like, oh, that's not gripping at all, because when you initially apply this to the skin, it feels like a cooling gel primer and it doesn't feel sticky or tacky at all. It actually glides on so nicely and it has a little bit of a cooling effect to it. Some of the main ingredients are glycerin, niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, and cucumber juice. So it definitely has that refreshing feel. I feel like this would have actually been a perfect summertime launch. But the instructions say to wait 1 minute for the gripping effect to activate, and that is really important because if you wait a minute or two, all of a sudden it feels a little bit sticky on the skin. What I like about this one is it does feel significantly more hydrating than other gripping primers I've tried, but the gripping effect is pretty strong. It's not that it feels so sticky on the skin. Like, I think specifically of the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I love that one. But the second you apply that to the skin, it does feel a little bit thicker and heavier and incredibly sticky, which I think turns a lot of people off because they don't necessarily want that texture on their skin. This one is definitely lighter, but I feel like it has a very similar effect in terms of extending your makeup really well throughout the day. So I'm very impressed by this. I actually wore it yesterday and I had my makeup on for probably like 14 hours, and part of that was spent outside, like playing with the kids. It's warm outside and I really didn't touch my makeup up at all, and it really locked my makeup into place super well. Even though this definitely feels hydrating on the skin, I feel like it doesn't give my skin an overly dewy effect. I have this on today and I feel like my skin looks pretty matte, but sometimes when I'm using a very glowy, dewy gripping primer and I set my makeup with a matte powder, it still looks incredibly dewy, which could be good if that's the look I'm going for. But I just like this one. I feel like it's hydrating without being too glowy and without feeling too sticky or too heavy on the skin. So I'm really impressed by it. I need to film like a YouTube short ranking all of my favorite gripping primers because at this point there are so many. I actually have another one that I'm going to talk about in just a second, but I feel like this one could definitely become a go-to for me. Speaking of sticky primers, NYX also launched one. This one is the face glue. This actually came out, or no, I tried this before I tried the Catrice primer. So when I initially tried this one, I was kind of shocked at how sticky it was. I talked about it in an Instagram story the whole day. Like, my face or my hair was actually stuck to my face. And every single time I looked in the mirror, I felt like or you know what it was? I filmed a video that day. And when I was editing that video back, like, my hair was just all over my face. On top of that, I don't know if I forgot to like powder my upper lip, but I was watching the video and I was like, did I apply highlighter there? Was I excessively sweating? Like, I couldn't understand why my upper lip looked so shiny, and I must have forgotten to put powder there because this product was shining through. This is a super dewy looking primer. It's interesting because when you first apply it, it just feels like a moisturizing primer. And that's the thing about some of these sticky primers. They don't necessarily feel sticky initially, but once they dry for a little bit, I feel like it really activates and comes into play. So I applied my foundation on top and it went on beautifully. But even once I set my face with powder, the Huda Beauty powder, which is pretty mattifying, my hair was still sticking to my face all day long. I also got pretty oily pretty quickly with this product. So I don't know if this is the most ideal option if you have oily skin, unless you really do like that dewy, glowy look. I will say this locks my makeup into place, probably even better than the Catrice one. I think the first time I tried this on, I was wearing my makeup for hours when I was testing out a lot of these products because quite a few of them claim to be very long wearing. I had my makeup on for like 15 hours. And again, I swear it stayed in place extremely well, but I did have to blot like halfway throughout the day because my skin looked so oily. But after I blotted, like nothing was faded, nothing moved around. So it is a truly long wearing gripping primer. It has some cons for me personally. If you have dry skin or you don't mind that super dewy glowy look, you might like this. But again, my hair was just completely stuck to my face all day because it was truly that sticky. One of the main ingredients is maple syrup, which is interesting. I've never really heard a brand kind of market their product as having their hero ingredient be maple syrup, but it's supposed to actually lock your makeup into place and keep it in place really well. So that might be part of the reason why it is so sticky. I think the packaging is super cute, obviously a little bit gimmicky. I do think it is a high quality product, but I don't know, the dispenser works well. I feel like you can dispense the exact amount you need. And then when you get to the bottom, you can take the cap off and really get every little last drop. So I think it's kind of cute, a little bit fun. The name, the theme is definitely on point with this launch. Along with that primer, NYX also launched a setting spray. This one is the Face Glue Setting Spray. It's supposed to be a transfer-resistant makeup setting spray, which I do feel like that holds up because if I use that primer alone, like I said, my skin feels sticky. I know I said that a million times, but I do think that my makeup can tend to transfer a little bit just because it is like more oily, more dewy throughout the day. When I use this product, I feel like it locks my makeup into place really well. I've also used this without the primer, which is how I tend to prefer it. But I think it's a great option. It's pretty affordable. It's $10. I like the NYX matte setting spray, but I think I like this one better because I noticed that my makeup wears a little bit longer with this one. It doesn't give you a dewy finish, but it still feels hydrating on the skin. So a really, really great option. A couple of cons about this. NYX never makes my favorite spray nozzles. They're always just like a little bit harsh. They're not the worst out there, but I feel like when you're spraying your skin, it's not the most pleasant experience. So I just hold it kind of far away and it's fine. But again, not the best. I wish they were just a little bit more on the gentle side. And then it seems like there's kind of like an ingredient that's settled on the bottom. And no matter how hard I mix this up, I can't get it fully mixed in. Even if I get it fully mixed in and then I like set it like this, the next day the white powder kind of settles in the bottom again. So I don't know what that's all about. I feel like if you really vigorously shake it, you can get most of it mixed in, but there is some settling of products. So just something to note. But I think it is a really great option. I like the setting spray a little bit better than the primer, but they do work really well together too. That being said, I actually like this setting spray a little bit better. So one of you recommended this to me. It's the LA Girl Pro Perfect Oil Control Multitasking Setting Spray. This one is supposed to have a matte finish. This is gorgeous. Okay, I'll try to find the comment and put it on the screen so I can specifically say thank you for recommending this to me because I am in love with this. First of all, this comes with a lot more product in here. So you get 3.55 fluid ounces. The next one comes with 2 fluid ounces. The next one is $10 and then the LA Girl one is $9, so $1 less for about 1.5 times the product, which when it comes to setting spray, I do think that makes a difference because at least for me, it's something that I can tend to use up fully. The mist on this is so gentle, so soft. It reminds me of the LYS Beauty setting spray, which is my favorite setting spray as far as like an experience goes because you spray it on your skin, it feels so good. And that's exactly how this one feels. They claim on the back that this gives a soft focus effect, and I feel like it really does. Like I was wearing these side by side a few times, and they both looked great, honestly, after they fully dried, but there was something about this one that just kind of looked like I used a really great finishing powder. You know how when you do your makeup and you go in with a gorgeous, super lightweight finishing powder to kind of blend everything together, and it just gives your skin like that beautiful diffused look? That's almost what this does. I do feel like this worked well to extend the wear of my makeup, and if I use enough of this, I also think my skin looks less oily throughout the day. So I am a big fan of this. Honestly, I feel like they're both great long wearing setting sprays. I like this one a little bit better because of the experience, the fact that it gives your skin like that soft diffused focus. And again, I feel like my skin really was a little bit less oily throughout the day. So honestly, I'm telling you, skip the high-end setting spray. Try this one out, especially if you have oily skin, because it is gorgeous. I actually have another complexion product, but you know what? I'm going to save that for the end of the video because this video has been so complexion heavy. Let's talk about this eye product. So I do like a good liquid shadow. It's not something that I tend to reach for over powder shadow, but when I'm in a hurry, a liquid shadow really is top tier because it's just quick and easy to use. And a lot of the time, if you use one liquid shadow, it can almost make it look like you ended up using a couple of different products. I also like the fact that some liquid shadows can be used as eyeliner too, and this product is perfect for that. So these are from Hard Candy. They are the Moods Shadow Paints. These are $3.98 each, so incredibly affordable. It's not really every day where we see a new drugstore launch that retails for under $5. They have 8 different shades. I think I have all of them here. They did send these to me. They did send these to me in the mail as PR, but I probably would have tried them because I usually do end up trying most Hard Candy launches. I feel like these are actually a really good alternative to the About Face liquid shadows. Most brands end up doing metallic or glitter liquid shadows, and I feel like the only matte liquid shadows I've tried have been from About Face and Lottie London, which I do like both of those formulas, but both brands are a little bit more expensive. So I like that Hard Candy launched a truly like super affordable option that actually performs extremely well. So they have a good range of tones, including bright colorful shades and also neutrals. So I love wearing this as like a shadow that I'll apply all over the lid and then into the crease. And then I might take like an Urban Decay Moondust shadow and kind of top that over it. And it looks really beautiful, but it's such a quick, simple look. These are incredibly long lasting. Like they will not fade, they will not crease, they will not smudge. But I feel like you still have a good amount of time to work with them. So as you're blending them into the crease or using your finger or a brush, whatever method you like to do, there's enough time that you can actually blend it out before it fully sets down, which is really nice because sometimes liquid shadows dry down a little bit too fast and there's no time to work with it. Once they lock into place, they really aren't going anywhere. You can also use these as liner. I've been using the shade Rich as a brown liner, and this actually stays in place a lot better than quite a few brown liners I've tried. But I like this because it can be sheared out just a little bit. So sometimes if I'm using like a brown liquid liner, it can be a little bit too opaque. And then sometimes a shadow can be a little bit too soft. So this is perfect because if you just take a small amount, it creates like the perfect line that will actually define your eyes without being too intense, kind of like a smoked out liner look. So I have been loving these a ton lately. It's also nice to be able to get them for an affordable price. If you are someone who's like, oh, I would love to try a blue shadow or blue liquid liner, but you don't want to spend a ton of money, because for $4, you can get one of these. I have no complaints about the quality, but one thing I will say, and this can sometimes happen with matte liquid shadows, especially compared to, no, I guess it happens with glittery liquid shadows too. I can sometimes feel this on my eyes, depending how much of the product I apply. If I really layer it up to get like a fully opaque finish, or I'm working with 2 shades, sometimes throughout the day, like I'll kind of feel it on my eyes. It definitely feels heavier than a powder, and it's not something that bothers me enough to not wear the product, but it is there. Like it's almost like a liquid lipstick type of feel, but on the eyes, which doesn't sound super appealing. But if you're someone who goes in with a light sheer layer, or you like more of a diffused look, I don't think that will be the case. And also when I wear these as eyeliner, I can't feel them. So just something I wanted to note, I definitely wouldn't describe these as super weightless unless you are going for like a softer, more natural look with them. Another eyeliner that I wanted to mention is something that's been out for a little while. I think I used one of these in a video where I was trying out new drugstore makeup, but I feel like it hasn't really gotten the like spotlight it deserves. So a lot of people love the NYX Epic Ink Liner. Whenever I ask you like what your favorite drugstore liquid liner is, a ton of you say this product. And I've been using this for a few years on and off. I do really like it. I think they only had a black shade, and then they recently expanded and came out with quite a few more. So let me put some pictures on the screen for you because I don't have all of them. I do have black, and then I also have dark chocolate, which is a super deep dark brown. They also have milk chocolate, which is also a dark brown, graham cracker, which is kind of a medium brown, Lil Toasty, which is what I would describe as like a light nude, and then Marshmallow, which is an even lighter nude. I love that they came out with so many different options because depending on, the way you like to do your makeup, your skin tone, the shades you choose, you can use it to define your eyes and have like the perfect brown for your skin tone. You can use it to create kind of like a graphic eyeliner look. There are a ton of different options, and it's nice that they didn't necessarily just focus on super colorful shades, but like a range of nudes and browns. So like I said, I do have black and then I have dark chocolate. I think I might end up picking up the brown that's one shade lighter than this as well, but I like this because it is like a true deep brown liner, and it comes with a brush tip that glides on super easily. I know a lot of people are into brown mascara, brown eyeliners, so if that's you, it's nice that they ended up launching like a full line in a fan favorite formula. I do really like this eyeliner. I won't say it's the most waterproof liner I've ever tried personally. I feel like it stays in place well enough. I don't really have any issues with the wear time, but if my eyes are extremely watery, like it will end up smearing by the end of the day. Thankfully, that hasn't been an issue for me in a little while. I will also say that sometimes after I've had this liner for a while, it will start to leak. So I always just kind of store mine right side up as opposed to other formulas that I might store upside down. So just something to note, but I do think it's a great option if you're looking for an affordable liner that comes in a range of browns and nudes. I know I've at least touched on this product in a previous video, but it's definitely worth repeating because this is such a good formula. Essence ended up launching a new lipstick formula not too long ago. These are called the Slim Stick lipsticks, and these are an amazing option if you want a matte lipstick that feels really good on the lips. These are incredibly smooth. They're very moisturizing, super comfortable, but you still get that matte finish. They have 10 different shades, and I feel like they have a good range. They have some lighter, softer nudes. They have some reds, they have berries and pinks, and I definitely recommend trying this out if you're looking for an affordable lipstick. I think when it comes to matte lipsticks, sometimes you get a matte lipstick that lasts really well on the lips, but it feels dry and it looks dry on the lips. This formula actually looks incredibly smooth and feels really moisturizing, but it's maybe not quite as long lasting. So if longevity is your main goal, you might want to end up skipping over this formula, but if comfort is your key goal, like it usually is for me when it comes to lipstick, this is an absolutely gorgeous formula to try. They say it's a 6-hour wear lipstick. I probably wouldn't say that's the case. Maybe if you're not like eating and drinking, which I feel like most of us are, at least drinking like water throughout the day or coffee, then it will end up lasting a little bit longer for you. But I feel like for me, it lasts a few hours. But again, I don't mind reapplying this product because it is so comfortable and it looks great and it feels really great. So I wanted to mention these again. I also just like the style of this kind of lipstick rather than like a traditional lipstick. I just think it's a little bit easier to be more precise with it. They don't break as easily because this is a very creamy formula. I think this style is a little bit more ideal because if it came in like a traditional lipstick, I personally sometimes press a little bit too hard and it ends up like breaking the lipstick off. If you are a fan of the Milani Fruit Fetish lip oils, they ended up launching a new shade for fall. This one is Black Cherry Vanilla. It's really, really gorgeous. So I love the scent of these. They all smell a little bit different, but in general, they have kind of like a fruity candy-like scent. I can't fully place the scent of this one. I feel like it doesn't smell like your typical cherry vanilla scent. It almost has like a little bit of like a raspberry scent, but it's very toned down. So it's not as intense as some of the other ones out there. I think this looks really pretty on the lips. It basically gives your lips like a light, cool wash of, or no, it basically gives your lips a light, cool tint. That's what I'm trying to say. I will say it's not quite as pigmented as some of the photos online, which could be a potential con for you. Some of the photos that I've seen obviously have like a lipstick or a lip liner underneath because it looks pretty intense. I do think it's very subtle, but very, very pretty. If you're looking for like a lot of pigment, a lot of intensity, this is not going to be the one for you. But if you want just like a really beautiful, kind of like sheer black cherry lip color to be able to wear on its own or to apply over lipstick to kind of cool it down, this is a really gorgeous option. I love this formula. It's very smooth, very glossy, super lightweight, and really comfortable. So I'm a big fan of this one. I've been wearing it a ton. I do have another product from Milani that I wanted to talk about. This is the Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Smoothing Primer. So I've had this for a little while. I just haven't had the chance to really review it on my channel. I've been using it quite a bit. This is a little bit more expensive. I think it's the most expensive product in today's video. It's $15.99, which is pretty high for Milani. I will say they did step it up in terms of packaging. Sometimes Milani's packaging can feel a little bit cheap, which isn't the end of the world to me. As long as it's functional, it's fine. But I do feel like this kind of reminds me of high-end packaging. So here's what it looks like. And then on top, there's a little applicator that just slides right out that you can use with the actual primer. And then it is a twist off top, and that's what the primer looks like inside. So a few things about this primer. It does feel very nice on the skin, very refreshing, a little bit cooling. To me, it kind of has like a little bit of a gel feel in a way. Online, they say it's a whipped souffle-like formula, which is probably the best description, honestly. As you apply it to the skin, you can definitely see how it just kind of blurs and smooths the skin. I don't think the applicator is fully necessary, but it is kind of a nice touch. And even when I apply it to the back of my hand, like I can tell where I applied it because when I look at my hand, that area just looks incredibly smooth, very perfected in a way. Makeup looks really great on top of this and it applies perfectly. Like it's not too slippery, it's not too silky. Sometimes with primers like this, it just creates like such a smooth base that my makeup ends up slipping around and it doesn't fully set. That doesn't happen with this one. I definitely notice a difference in the way my complexion products look when I use this primer underneath. I wouldn't say it extends the wear of my makeup, but my makeup also doesn't wear off any more quickly when I use this compared to another smoothing primer like the new Huda Beauty one or the Cali Ray one. So this one is obviously less expensive than both of those, but maybe more expensive than other drugstore smoothing primers. So anyway, if you have a lot of primers in your collection that you love that are smoothing or blurring, you definitely don't need to run out and buy this one. But if you're looking for one that's smoothing and blurring and also feels very hydrating and just kind of refreshing on the skin as we head into the fall and winter seasons where sometimes you might need that, I do think this is a great option, even though the price is a little bit higher than we typically see from Milani. The last product I wanted to talk about is this lipstick from Covergirl. This actually just broke on me as I was kind of sitting here opening it up and it fell out. I don't want to mess with it because I have to figure out how to fix it. I think there's a hack where you can like melt the bottom of it and then push it back together and pop it in the freezer. This is a very creamy formula, and that's kind of what I was talking about when it comes to a creamy formula with these Essence products. That's why I typically like this style of packaging, because if it's super creamy and you push a little bit too hard or roll it up a little bit too high, I feel like it's easy for it to break off. Anyway, I really love this formula. This is the CoverGirl Clean Lip Color Lipstick. It retails for $8.99. They have 8 shades. Honestly, I do wish they had a few more, but I still wanted to try it out because it's supposed to be an incredibly creamy formula, which it is. It's infused with avocado and aloe butter and then also squalane. So I love the fact that this looks so smooth on the lips, but also feels really smooth. It has a gorgeous satin finish and it feels really good as you're wearing it throughout the day. It is a pretty lightweight formula, but also highly pigmented, which normally I don't necessarily love like a super bold, highly pigmented lipstick, but this is a gorgeous color for fall. So I've been loving it a lot lately. It's not the most long lasting, but I feel like it wears off in a way that's very graceful, which I know I've said that before when it comes to lipstick, but you know how some lipsticks wear off and like you'll have a patchy mess or you feel like you have to reapply it, otherwise your makeup is ruined? That doesn't feel like the case with this one. Like it wears off gently and slowly, so it almost fades evenly, if that makes sense. And I think it's because it is such a creamy, gorgeous, hydrating formula. So I really love this. Again, if you're looking for comfort, this is the formula to try. Longevity, not so much. I just wish they had a few more additional shades to choose from. Oh, my con when it comes to this product is they say it's fragrance free, but it almost has a little bit of a lipstick taste and scent to it that's kind of hard to place. So it's not the end of the world, but I feel like, you know how some lipsticks have like that specific taste and scent? That's kind of how this one is. So just something I wanted to note. Okay, that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. All of the best new drugstore launches. I'm actually going to film a video right after this playlist talking about the worst makeup I've tried lately. So if you like those videos, that video should be up within the next few days. But if you like drugstore content, I'll link a couple of related videos for you on the screen and in the description box below. And I film a lot of drugstore videos, so I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out my Instagram or my TikTok. I upload a ton of drugstore content over there as well. And I will be back very soon with a new video. Bye.